do people from the Netherlands live abroad in New York? How do they live and work in the city that never sleeps? That's the question to which this NL Club NYC podcast will give you the answers. Here are your hosts, Eric and Mark.
So next year, for the pandemic, that has been very tough, obviously, for the Netherland Club of New York. We've been in existence since 1903. Here it's going to be 120 years. Throughout 2 world wars, we stayed here throughout all kinds of other things, and also throughout the pandemic, and we survived. But one of the things that we wanted to celebrate was that we survived, obviously, and the way we wanted to do that is by having a party for everybody who survived with us, who survived the pandemic with us.
That's amazing.
And so we're here at the Salma Gandhi Club. It's in the beginning of Fifth Avenue. And for those who don't know it, the beginning of Fifth Avenue is probably one of the most iconic areas of New York City. And so the fact that we're here is really amazing. And with so many good friends around us, it's a wonderful time to be here.
It's beautiful, and it's so beautiful that you bring everyone here together, and we're actually getting an audience by now. That's awesome. Yeah, you were like looking for an audience.
It's because of you guys, not because of me. Yeah, we teamed up with the Salma Gandhi Club because we have very similar
Values.
Values. Exactly right. So very similar values. We're very inclusive. Both the Salma Gandhi Club, which is a club for artists by artists, and the Netherland Club is really to propagate Dutch culture and Dutch ideas in New York and vice versa. So we're both very inclusive. So, for example, for the Netherland Club, whoever feels an affiliation with the Netherlands in New York is invited to become a member. It's not, you don't have to have a Dutch passport, or you don't even have to like football. You can just become a member and participate in our events. And that's something that Salma Gandhi is very supportive of as well.
Inclusive.
And this is an incredible building. They built it 150 years ago. They bought it for $75,000. I think it's worth $75 million right now.
Wow.
But they're not going to sell it. Not that we would buy it, by the way, for $75 million. But anyway.
That's super cool. And I think it's a super cool venue to be here. It's very beautiful. Like a lot of paintings around. We have a beautiful library here. I heard every day there's a different event, so there's always something going on. So that's like super cool.
Yeah, and we have had the most wonderful Dutch artists here. We've had Tosca Opdam here. We've had Marius van der Brink here. We've had all these wonderful Dutch, but also politicians, and the Tweede Kamer committee for foreign affairs was here, and Prime Minister Mark, he won't be coming here this year, but because I think he's only here for 24 hours. But a couple of years ago, he was here, and he celebrated my birthday actually together with him, because that's on September 25th. But anyway, so we have all these wonderful people that join us from the Netherlands and who are interested in the Netherlands.
Yeah, super cool. And you came here 20 years ago. Can you tell a little bit about what brought you to New York? What was the reason for you to move here, go over here, be in this city? Can you tell a little bit about that?
The reason 20 years ago is the reason today. And I just invite you to look outside. And every day that I'm here and every day that I come back, because I travel quite a bit, but every day you drive into the city from the airport, you see the city and you think of what Frank Sinatra sang, which is, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. By no means I claim that I made it here, but I certainly have the ambition to make it here, and consequence, make it anywhere.
Yeah.
No, it's a very inspiring city. It's a very lively city. I think So, for example, if you think about the other day, I was in The Hague with my daughter, and we went to the Gemeentemuseum where Victory Boogie Woogie is on display. And it reminded me that a few years ago, it was 100 years of Cobra. And it was celebrated by the then mayor of The Hague, who came here, and we had a whole event around the painters and the artists of Cobra.
Yeah.
And, the fact that Victory Boogie Woogie, based on the grid that is Manhattan, that brings it all together. That, to me, is the inspiration that New York brings.
Super cool. So it's your attraction for the city. Is it a little bit of the slice of the American dream that you saw as an opportunity? Like, maybe I can have a little slice of that?
So not so much the American dream. It's because I don't believe necessarily that, I don't know. So that's a hard question. What I do feel very strongly is that New York City has limitless options and opportunities.
Yeah.
And I want to explore that. Life is short, and I want to make everything out of it.
Of course. So if you look at the NL Club, and we were already talking a little bit about what we do, what we embrace, who we include. Can you tell a little bit about your vision forward for the NL Club and people that might be now on the fence or maybe interested and are just gonna listen to the podcast? Do you have some things that you envision for the coming years?
Yeah. So first of all, Manhattan is Dutch, right?
Yeah.
So there's a long history. In 2009, we celebrated 400 years of Henry Hudson, who sailed under a Dutch flag and started Manhattan.
Wow.
So the NL Club has that history that we build up. But today we're living in September 2022. It's just as relevant. We have a lot of Dutch people here. We have around 20,000 Dutch people in greater New York. And the Dutch want to celebrate together. They want to talk together. They want to exchange information. They want to exchange experiences. And that is what we offer. And at the same time, what we offer is a little peek into the wonderful culture that we have at home in Holland, and the wonderful exchange of culture that we can offer. We have a range of people who have been here briefly, a year or a couple of years, and we have people who've been here for 40 years and anything in between. But people, you're always Dutch, or you have an affiliation with the Netherlands, and that is what we offer here to celebrate.
Beautiful. Yeah. And then we do really low, easy entry events like the Vrijdagmiddagborrel, for example.
Yeah, we had one yesterday.
We had one yesterday, exactly.
Yeah.
But there are also other special events that we do around culture. And could you tell a little bit about that? Just a little bit not too much, because we also have later on people who are going to go in depth with that. So
tell us more about the,
more about the general idea of the things we organize.
Yeah. So we have what we call staple events. So Feest is now one of them, but we also celebrate Sinterklaas. We celebrate New Year's. We celebrate the King's birthday. We celebrate the first haring that is flown over by KLM. And by the way, all the sponsors that keep up the Netherland Club are very generous with their support. So I just mentioned KLM. Heineken is a wonderful sponsor.
Yeah.
ING, Rabobank, So we have wonderful sponsors.
Has big names as well, right?
Yeah.
Not, yeah.
Any big Dutch company or small Dutch company who wants to get a foothold in the US, they start in New York.
So how big is the community here in the Netherlands or here in New York? Like the community we have, more or less. Do you have?
So it depends on how you define community. There's about 20,000 people with with a Dutch passport in Greater New York.
Wow.
So it's a fairly large community.
Yeah.
But you asked about the events that we organize. So the Koninklijke Concertgebouworkest, the Royal Concertgebouworkest, they regularly come to us and have a small gathering, and we have all kinds of. At some point, a couple of years ago, the Mauritshuis was being redone, and the collection of the Vermeers was on display in the Frick House. So we organized an event around that.
Wow.
We have very close relationships with all the Dutch artist networks through one of the cultural attaché who is on our board here of the Netherlands. Yeah, so we have a lot of support from the Dutch community.
Super cool.
So what if, for example, an organization, somebody's listening and they want to contribute or they want to collaborate? What's possible? How can they reach you? Can they find you?
Yeah,
somewhere?
we made it, just like you said, we made it very low entry, low barrier. So they can just go to the website and they can become a member for as low as $50. And so with that $50, you get access to all kinds of events and the newsletter and all that. But you can also have higher contributions. You can be a patron and spend a little bit more, and then you get a little bit more in return. But we made it a specifically low entry barrier because we wanted to have, as I said, we wanted to be inclusive. We don't want to have any barriers that make it difficult for people to join. We want everybody to join.
Yeah. So you came to the US 20 years ago, and were you immediately a member of the NL Club? Were you directly involved?
Yes.
So over the last 20 years, have you seen the NL Club evolve, or is everything still the same as 20 years ago?
Certainly evolve. I got dressed up today. I'm probably the only one who's wearing a tie, but I just wanted to. So we used to, 20 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that, we used to be a little bit of an older gray like I am today. So what happened since is that we moved to a much younger audience, much more attractive for all people, while retaining the attraction for older people who've been here for a long time. So we've been very successful in making it attractive for a broad audience, and not so much for just, we don't want to be clubby.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what's going to be for, like, let's say the next 5 or 10 years? What's your ambition with the club?
Yeah, so we have high ambitions. We want to be the club. We want to be the gathering space for people who come to New York. And with events, with things that people are interested in, and just build on what we've built so far with the attraction that we have in terms of a broad program that we offer. But we definitely want to have as many people and as many events as we can, and we think that it's a wonderful thing with the help of our sponsors to achieve that.
That's great. Any advice for people who just arrived in New York, or people who are considering moving or are planning to move, any advice, what would you do, or how can you be of help, or what would you tell them? This is what you should do.
Yeah, join the Netherlands.
That's the only right answer, right?
No, yeah. Join the Netherland Club.
Yeah.
You won't regret
Yeah,
it.
that
You
is
won't
true.
regret it.
I have to agree.
Yeah, it's really helpful, because the thing is also that you come here, you don't know anyone, maybe only people from your work when you are here, and when you are an entrepreneur, you only have your business and your business contacts maybe. So it can be lonely in the city.
Is a tough place. With all 8 million of us here, it can be very lonely.
Yeah.
And you're right. And this is a very friendly, very hospitable crowd where people want to help each other. And so definitely welcome everybody to join.
A little bit home away from home.
Home away from home.
Beautiful.
Exactly right.
Thank you so much. It was super inspiring to have you here on the table. And thank you for what you're doing for the club.